I am so glad to be here.
Yeah,
this is awesome. This whole thing you have is dope. Such a fan, man.
So for people who don't know who you are, who is Drew Tucker?
Man, I am a father of 2 amazing daughters. I'm a husband of 1 amazing wife, and I'm a musician, an educator, and something like a social entrepreneur. At the end of the day, I mean, the only thing that really makes me happy, makes anyone happy, is really serving others. So I try to use music to serve others as much as possible.
How'd you hear about the Gridbook series?
Man, how'd I hear about the Gridbook series?
I actually don't.
You know what's funny? I do actually remember. I met you at PASIC.
Oh, that's
that
right.
was how someone said, "Hey, man," and we were talking about different things because I was running the nonprofit art centers, and you were talking about some of the architecture things you were doing and the projects you were doing with architecture. Right. And he happens to run this book called the Gridbook series.
Right.
And as a result, we connected via online, and I think you only had like 25,000 followers at that point. I don't think you were quite as cool as you are now. But I think that was 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Nice, yeah.
Maybe a little more. And ever since then, man, we've been rocking and rolling.
Yeah, dude.
Encouraging each other to do the thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what I like most about what you do is you're a performer, but you're also an educator.
Yeah.
And so you have that perspective of both sides. And I think something that's going on in the community right now is auditions are happening.
Sure.
And I would just like some insight or maybe some tips that you have for the Gridbook audience for auditions. Just like, what do you think people should do at auditions? Maybe how can they prepare? Any insight or light that you can shed on that?
Yeah, so I consult at Blue Stars Drum and Bugle Corps and also at Stryke World Indoor Percussion Ensemble. And when we do auditions, I'll tell you 2 things. One is very kind of macro, and the other one's getting down to some brass tacks and some logistics. I think the big thing is, from a mindset, is to not consider it an audition. It's kind of like when you give kids 16th notes and all of a sudden you can just feel the whole body clench up, even though it's the same tempo they were just playing 8s at. And so it's the same kind of idea. If you go there a lot more free, you're just going to perform and play some music, some great music with some great instruction. Usually the rest will sort of take care of itself, assuming you're prepared and take care of all the other things that actually I think you listed a few posts ago. Also, as an instructor, a lot of times we're looking for people who play well together. We kind of have something we're looking for. And so even if you come prepared, you're a great human being, you do everything you're supposed to do, you still may not make it. Just a numbers game, right? I mean, it could be someone marched 1 year before, someone, who knows? So to go in there with that much tension and stress and that much negativity already built up and scarcity, and I hope I make it, I don't make it, how many spots are left, it's almost impossible. And even though it seems counterintuitive, it's almost impossible for you to do your best work when you're coming into any playing situation in a position of scarcity, and if you're just like, I may not have it, oh no, I broke, oh no, I didn't make it through that lick, So the real thing is just to, I don't want to say not care, but really care about making beautiful music and beautiful sounds and meeting great people and learning great things, and the audition will usually take care of itself. So that's the first thing. The second thing.
All right, number 2.
When you're in the ensemble, and I'm a front ensemble guy, right? Know what the rep is for. Know what the intent of that chunk of rehearsal is. So if the intent of that rehearsal is to, hey, we're going to go through all 12 scales playing dirt, which is a fast 16th note linear exercise, scalar exercise, and you're at the first audition, most likely the intent is not so you have every note right. It's almost invariably the case that no one will have every note right, not even the mega vets who've been there 5 years, because they haven't played intensely for a few months probably, or a few weeks. So the intent most likely is to see who can focus through long phrases, who can focus through playing the entire exercise, who can play constant 16th notes over long periods of time without breaking. So don't let the missed notes break you. How many kids go into those and they're like, oh, I missed a note, and all of a sudden the whole scale went by and they try to jump back in, and now they're still thinking about that mistake. So if that's the intent, then that's what you should do. Now, if they slow it down and then they're saying, all right, let's take this slow, we're gonna play just this scale 10, 12 times, now they're looking for something different. Maybe they're looking for your note accuracy. Maybe they're looking for your rhythmic clarity. Maybe they're looking for how you breathe through a phrase or how you crescendo or express depending on what it is. So knowing what the intent of the chunk of the block of rehearsal or of that particular exercise is really will get rid of a lot of extra stuff that could cause you to not perform well at that intent.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I think where people are right now, some people have already auditioned, and some people haven't auditioned yet. So let's say you've auditioned and you've already gone. there are people who have been contracted,
Yep.
and there are people who got a callback,
Sure.
and then there's people who have gotten cut. So
Yes.
what advice do you have for the person who has made it or gotten a callback, like it's time to go back,
Sure.
or you're cut and that can be pretty devastating? Like, what advice do you have for both sides?
All right, I'll give you all three sides, really, because you said three things. And
Yeah.
So the first, let's talk about getting cut. I've been cut several times. I've been cut from major professional auditions. I've been cut from drum corps auditions. And honestly, I always ended up in a better place than I ever would have thought I would have ended up in those types of situations.
Yeah.
And I learned more from those situations about what not to do than I have learned from the things that I've made. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but sometimes getting cut is the best thing. You know, like my first drum corps audition, it would have honestly put my situation it would put me in a bad situation financially to have flown all the way over there, and I already done it 4 or 5 times, and at the point where it was time to kind of what was going to happen and I ended up getting cut, where I ended up marching instead was honestly one of the best experiences I've ever had, and the friends that I have now from that I wouldn't trade for anything. Did I like the experience of getting cut? No, I didn't. It's life. The more no's you get to the yes, right? And you got to find something that fits you, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not the fit for you, you know, that place, that technique, that skill, that style. I mean, not really. You may think you want that for certain reasons, but really that's not what you're in it for, you know? Kind of like Strike 1 versus Strike 2, or Infinity 1 versus Infinity 2. You think you want the one, and you'll say, man, I'd march anything there, even though you tried out for marimba. I'd march anything if I could just be in the world group, but instead you're like center marimba in the 2 group, or you're center, whatever the case may be, and that may not feel that great because you had friends there, maybe you feel like you failed. But then when you think about maybe your ultimate goal is to teach, is to be an educator, being in that center position is going to help you get to that goal, and it's going to be a blessing. Whereas, or you want to play, right? Being able to play a lot of marimba is going to be better than if you played whatever, or in the visual ensemble in the world group and didn't get your hands moving for all that time. So find the blessing in the cut. That's the first thing. In terms of the callback, right, where you're not sure you're on the bubble, I have had students who've called me and say, well, what do I do? How do I do this? And I say, listen, you have one job. You don't have 2 jobs, you don't have 2 camps, you don't have 2 rehearsals, you have one job, and that's this weekend or this Sunday. And you have one job, and it's to do what you've been doing. Just do the same thing a little bit better. Nothing's changed, right? And then for those who've made it, I'm going to say something that, you know, that really has helped me, because as I perform with certain people, sometimes I perform with people who I feel are maybe out of my league, or maybe like, wow, these people have achieved this or this, and I haven't gotten there yet. And then I remember that they didn't hire the other vibraphone player who maybe I think plays better. They hired Drew because he's Drew. With all my faults, all my flaws, all my other things, all my good stuff, right? That's why I'm in that position. So if you made it, don't try to change anything. Don't try to be the super vet leader. Don't try to be the, you know, oh, now I'm cool, and change the way you've approached it from then on, because they hired you or contracted you to be you, right? So don't try to all of a sudden be like, well, I love the way they do it at that group, and I'm going to be like that. Just keep doing the same thing. And every weekend, remember, you have one job. And that's to execute the best you can. That's to help everybody. That's to make sure that you're serving. And if you're a leader, I'm going to go 4 now. If you become a section leader, the best section leaders lead from behind. The best section leaders understand that the best ensembles start at the rookies are at the top of that pyramid. And as you become a leader, you work vets, and then leader, you work your way to the bottom, and you're supporting everybody else. And if you think that way, if you're always out to support everybody else, then you'll be the best leader possible. You know, it's like, what was it, one quote? Where do they go? I must follow them. I'm their leader. You know, if you think about those things, I mean, you can't really go wrong.
Yes, man. Thank you so much for coming by. Do you have any last remarks or last comments to any of our listeners?
Yeah, I got 2 things, actually. The first thing is, even if you play a snare drum or a vibraphone, or you're in drum corps, or you're auditioning for whatever spot you're auditioning in, don't just narrow your focus to listening and doing those things. It's like this microcosm of music. You know, apply a lot of different things. Listen to a lot of different music. Believe it or not, think about all of those pieces that you play in 360 degrees. Play them slow, play them fast, play them with the met once every 4 clicks, once every 5 clicks. Really understand music, like enjoy it and have a good time with it. And learn to express yourself with it. I mean, because really that's why we do it at the end of the day. And even though it seems counterintuitive, it'll only help your playing and your maturity as a musician. That's the first thing. The second thing is just remember why you do it. You know, if you remember why you're doing this, if you remember the love you have for the music or for the drum or for whatever it is that's happening, getting cut, not getting cut, having a callback, not having a good run, all that stuff kind of goes by the wayside because of surface stuff. At the end of the day, we just want to play, man. We want opportunities to play. We want to get better. We want to be bros, right? Like we want to be friends, and that's why you do it, man.
Drew Tucker.
Mark Perrett.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you, man.